Welcome to the Phoenix Prosperity Podcast, where wealth meets legacy. Join your host, Tim Fergestad, as we explore the journeys of Phoenix's finest to success and beyond.
Hello, this is Tim Fergestad. Thank you for joining us. I'm very pleased to have Lloyd Hopkins with me here today. Lloyd is a solutions-focused leader with a passion and heart for making a difference in people's lives. Currently the Chief Brand Officer at STN, a streaming television network, board member at the Children's Museum of Phoenix, as well as he's on other boards as well, and founder and executive director of the $1 Million Teacher Project. Welcome to the show, Lloyd.
I'm excited to be here, Tim. Thanks for having me on the
There's a lot of
Prosperity Podcast.
Aha, that's right. Thank you very much for coming. That's a lot of great stuff you're involved with. What would you like to talk about first?
Man, where do I begin? So I think definitely would like to start maybe with my philanthropic work.
Okay.
Because I think that when you're on a platform that's focused on prosperity, it just naturally makes me think of the conditions that create prosperity.
Okay.
The environment that individuals need to be in to prosper in life. And education plays a huge part in that. And so in 2016, I launched a nonprofit organization called $1 Million Teacher Project.
Okay.
After kind of going on a journey of self-discovery myself to really figure out what my true north was in life, who I really wanted to be. I was let go from a job and I didn't want to just go back to chasing another title, chasing money. I wanted to get up every day and do something that I was proud of, something I was excited about.
Sure.
I wanted to do purpose-driven work, and and what that led me to was kind of unpacking what were the things that I cared the most about. Who did I want to be when I walked into the room? And so what that took me back to was my nearly 15 years of experience working in education and working in the community. So I worked after school recreation programs. I worked with youth offenders. I worked dropout prevention. But the time that impacted me the greatest was the roughly 6 years I spent in the classroom as a teaching assistant. The reason I say that time was so impactful is that one, it showed me I'm not cut out to be a teacher. I don't need to be in the classroom. Let me save that for somebody else that has the true talent and skill for it. But second, it exposed me to the plight of teachers firsthand, how they're often underpaid, undervalued, under-resourced, overworked. And that's actually a community issue. Again, when you think about that word prosperity and you think about people being able to grow up and live their best lives, teachers play a part in that. Teachers,
100%.
classrooms are really the incubator of society, and teachers are in the nucleus of that. And and none of us escape life without being impacted by a teacher, whether it's a good experience or a bad experience. I think we can all think back to a time when a teacher said something negative or bad to us or mean to us. That sticks with you. And in many ways, it develops portions of what your identity becomes. Because either you want to rebel against those type of things, or it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy in so many ways.
Yep.
Or you have time when a teacher has propped you up, elevated you, told you some good things. That has helped with your self-esteem. That has helped motivate you. So teachers are being a teacher is one of the most important professions in society. It has that much impact on our lives. And today we're losing more and more teachers. We have 2,000 classrooms across Phoenix that don't have a permanent qualified teacher. That means that kids are learning from teachers that are teaching outside of their outside of their specialty, long-term substitutes, or teachers in overcrowded classrooms, And so I really like to use these type of moments to kind of talk about that, to put it on your listener's mind, how important educators are, how they're playing a role in all of our lives. And it is a community responsibility to show up for them. you know, otherwise we have to be in the classroom, and none of us want to be in the classroom. It's hard work, it's challenging work. And so we have to invest in those people that do show up and who do want to do that job and who are great at it.
For
We got to
sure.
invest in them. We have to make sure that they're surrounded with the necessary support they need, the necessary recognition that they need, and compensation that they need. And that's
For
where
sure.
$1 Million Teacher Project comes into play. Our mission is to elevate the teaching profession through increased support, compensation, and recognition. So
Okay.
we do things like bring full catered lunch celebrations on the school campuses to recognize teachers over lunch. We highlight a different amazing teacher every single month who's doing great work in the classroom. We bring interns and volunteers directly into the classroom to support a grade level of teachers. We do classroom supply drives. We work with businesses to offer meaningful discounts on goods and services to educators. We do teachers' lounge renovations. So what we are is a vehicle for involvement.
Okay.
I understand everybody's not going to be a crazy teacher fan like me and run out and start an organization and dedicate their life to it. But what I do believe is that once you're reminded that it's all of our responsibility to support teachers, and I motivate you to act, I then want to make it easy for you to do that.
For
So
sure.
we're a pathway for involvement. So you can either volunteer with helping us with some of our recognition work, or if you run a business, you can partner with us to offer a discount to educators, or you can always just donate. You
Right.
go to our website, which is $1 milliontteacherproject.org, hit the donate button. You can pick which of our pillars you would like to support and make a donation to support our work of elevating teachers. So that way we can do more. We want to be a statewide entity, then we want to be a national entity. At some point, I'd love to be an international entity. So I appreciate you allowing me a little bit of time just to
Yeah.
kind of talk about that important work, because I think it ties into, again, if we're sitting here talking about prosperity and people being able to live a full life um and have financial independence. I think we these conversations regularly get rooted in kind of investing and all of those type of things. But before you even get there, you got to get education. That education has to come from somewhere, and so we
Sure.
need great teachers to do it.
Sure. I'll piggyback a little bit on that in the sense that I think it's somewhat cyclical too, right? I mean, teachers need support, right? They have to be in a prosperous environment and stuff, and a prosperous community has better support for the teachers. So you can teach, right?
Got it.
Create an environment of prosperity for the youth,
You got it.
for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's also what happens, like the more prosperous communities have access to more resources, the
Hmm.
teachers in those communities have more
Right.
resources. And and a lot of our work is how do we level the playing field? So how do we make it just as prosperous and ensure teachers can be just as successful working in South Phoenix, working in
Right.
marginalized communities that are underserved and under-resourced. You know, our focus is those schools, Title I schools, marginalized communities, making sure that we surround those teachers with support and we make it the destination to want to teach in those areas. So that way, because access to a quality education is a right. It shouldn't be tied to your zip code or
Sure.
how much money your family makes. Regardless where you're at, you should have access to a quality education. And that's what we want to see, because that's truly um, how you put people in a position to maximize their talents, to understand their talents, to have the confidence to pursue their dreams. Because a rising tide raises all boats,
Yep.
and so we want to see more people have the opportunity to live out their dreams and live a prosperous life. Absolutely.
Okay. Before we move on, can you tell me about how people can find the $1 Million Teacher Project?
Yeah, so first, our website is www.milliondollarteacherproject.org. or you can find us on social media at MDT Project. So on all platforms, uh, at M as in million, D as in dollar, T as in teacher project on all platforms.
Okay, excellent. And sticking on the theme of impact here in Phoenix and elsewhere, you're a board member on a few very important organizations. Do you have any events or anything coming up in 2025 you want to promote in regards to those?
Yeah, so we have so first we with Million Dollar Teacher Project, we have our adult field trip that's
Okay.
taking place at JA Junior Achievement Biztown on
Oh yeah.
July 23rd, from 6 to 8 p.m. So the adult field trip is our way of putting adults back into the environment of being kids again. So we pick
Okay.
destinations that we enjoyed as kids or that we enjoyed taking our kids to, and we take over that location for the evening and bring in cocktails and good food and allow adults to play again, just like when they were kids, while being reminded of how important teachers are in their lives. So we recognize an amazing teacher that evening. We have some great keynote speakers, and we have scavenger hunts and just a lot of cool things where adults get to play again. So the adult field trip taking place July 23rd, 2025 at Junior Achievement Biztown.
Okay. Okay.
And
And
people can go to our website to find tickets and all
okay.
of that stuff.
Okay. Excellent. Excellent. Okay. Side note, let's just talk about one of the boards, the Children's Museum. Is there anything? I used to go there. We were members there for many, many years, and we would frequent those facilities. Those are always top notch, super excellent. How rewarding has that been? And how long have you been a part of that program?
Yeah. So I've been on the Children's Museum for 4 years. The Children's Museum is ran by Kate Wells, who is a phenomenal leader here in the Valley. And one big reason why I joined that board was for the opportunity to learn. I wanted to be able to sit on a board with an organization that is bigger than mine, is operating a bigger budget than
Sure.
I operate. And so I can kind of observe and learn some of their practices, but also it's a cause that I just really care about. You
Right.
know, kids need places and spaces to play, and where they can be safe, where parents know you can drop your kid off and they're going to be okay. And the Children's Museum is truly a leader in that space. They do some very dynamic programming with kids. So it's been a true honor to serve on that board and to help that mission grow in so many ways. So it's fantastic.
Okay. Thank you for that. Thank you for all your service on these projects as well. These are all outstanding,
I
and
appreciate
I'm certain you're having a big impact.
I try. I try. I try. I try to be very intentional about inserting myself in rooms and in spaces that align with my passions. Especially
Right.
when you're sitting on boards, I think that's important. Because to be a good board member, you have to be willing to be engaged and be involved and give of your time, talent, and treasures.
Right.
Anybody joining a board just to for resume material, that's going to drive, first of all, that's going to drive an executive director crazy. And you're not really being of service,
Right.
So you gotta, when I always talk to people about joining boards, my first advice is like, always look at the causes you care about. Look at the things you care
Right.
about first, and then find an organization that's doing work around what you care about, and then join that board. It's going to make
Right.
the time more meaningful for you and for the organization.
Okay. Great advice. Thank you, Lloyd.
Yeah.
So let's switch gears now and talk a little bit about STN. Can you give everyone listening or watching us sort of a snapshot of what that business is and what you do there?
Yeah, so first go to stntv.com, or you can go to you can go to the App Store, the Apple Store, or the Google Play Store and download the app right to your phone. So STN, the Social Television Network, is a streaming television platform that revolves around local causes, local matters, and individuals that are doing the work to move Arizona forward. Um, the network was created to give a better experience to local media. Because what really drives local media, if you really watch the news, is the whole if it bleeds, it leads philosophy.
It
So
does.
they're rushing to the crime scene or they're rushing to whatever controversy is going on right now. And we wanted to give people an alternative to that. What we want to focus on is not the crime scene. We want to focus on the people that are doing the work to prevent the crime. We
Right.
want to focus on the people that are doing the work to make the community a better place. We want to
Right.
focus on the corporations that are investing in the community in proper ways. And so we do a show to highlight these people the first Thursday of every single month. The show is called It Happens at STN. Um, and every month, we have a studio filled with over 100 guests of local leaders, nonprofit, business, community leaders who all come together for subject matter based conversations. So in
Okay.
the audience, we have leaders. On the stage, we have leaders that participate in action panels. Conversation style interviews where we're talking about their work and what's driving them and their call to action. And then we create an intersection for the audience to then engage with the people on stage. Because what we're really trying to do is burst silos. Like we all have our bubbles that we tend to operate in,
Right.
and we don't always reach across that aisle to collaborate and network. A brilliant thing you said to me before we started interviewing was you started this podcast to network. That was
Yep.
intentional, like to meet people, get outside of your bubble, and create an opportunity to have conversation with people you may not have otherwise had conversation with. That's the same spirit that goes into our It Happens at STN show. We want to put the people that are doing work in homelessness and housing in the same room with people that are doing work around pet plants, planting trees or trying to deal with pet adoption, because there's intersections between all of that work that normally you may not see because you're so much in your silo.
Right.
So we put these people in a room so that conversations on stage can turn into real action in the community. And we're seeing a lot of impact happening from our shows. We're seeing nonprofits and organizations get investments, get funding from participating in our shows, really being able to elevate and highlight top leaders in the Valley. So it's been fantastic to be a part of that work. I've been a part of STN for going on 5 years. It'll be 5 years in August. Um, and I'm their chief brand officer. So my role revolves around bringing in aligned businesses and organizations that are a fit for our brand, and create partnerships where we're working together around elevating their mission and messages, and also enabling us to create content around those
Okay.
missions and messages. So yeah, it's truly amazing work, and we're launching a subscription-based platform actually this February, next month. It's going to be called STN Plus. Right now is going to be in its pilot stage. But what we want to do is create a warehouse of content that's kind of in the fashion of masterclass,
Hmm.
TED Talk type
Okay.
of content where individuals get to learn and hear stories of our local leaders that are doing amazing things, and then come to a show and be able to actually engage with those folks. in
Okay.
ways that you really can't interact with content on other platforms. Like you can't watch Mark Cuban's master class and then go to a Mavericks game and hang out with them. With the STN Plus platform, we're really gonna bridge that gap between the work, the people leading the work, and the people that want to be involved in the work.
Okay. So some maybe live follow-up workshops or something.
You got it. You're exactly right. You're exactly
Okay.
right. Yep,
Excellent.
yep, yep.
So the streaming space has absolutely exploded, and it's awesome to see some local programming, if you will. Am I using the right word for that?
Yeah, you got it.
Okay.
Yep, yep. We are a television network.
Okay. Is there a lot of competition in the local space?
There's a this I think it's called the Center for Progressive Media. There's Front Doors Media. There's some great organizations doing some great work. And so what we really try to focus on is our differentiator, which is the live experience. You also have um, big players in this space like PBS, which is a network we all grew up on when we were
Right.
kids. So
Yep.
PBS is still doing some amazing things. And so one thing that really separates us will be this new STN Plus platform and the live experience that we create the first Thursday of every month.
Okay. Side note on that industry, is there any consolidation over time? Does PBS ever say, "Hey, we want to take you in or this program in," or anything like that?
It happens. You'll see mergers. You'll see partnerships happen. Absolutely, absolutely. I know a couple years ago, a couple organizations came together and
Okay.
kind of merged their work. So absolutely, it happens.
Okay. Do you have any goals for the network for the what do you call STN? Is it like a channel or do you call it a network?
Yeah, we
It's
call
its
it we
own
call it a network. Yeah, for the network.
network. Okay.
So big goals so we're on season 3 of It Happens right now. We're starting to
Okay.
plan for season 4, which will launch next September. Um, a lot of our energy and effort is focused on the launch of STN Plus. Like that's going to be a huge game changer for us because we're going to be able to start growing a membership base,
Right.
which is exciting. Gives us some more flexibility in how we can create content and who we can work with.
Sure.
So
Is there going to be sort of a theme for the plus? Is it going to be Phoenix local based events or companies, or is it going to be housing based, or is it going to be art based, anything like that?
yeah, so it's going to be leadership focused.
Okay.
So we're going to be looking at CEOs, executive directors, people in this C-suite leaders,
Right.
um, and them telling their stories on how they got into leadership, what motivates them, inspires them, what's interesting to them. Because we want people to be able to watch this content and be motivated and be inspired to act. So we
Right.
want to really create a learning tool.
Okay. Excellent. Very exciting. Very
Yeah.
exciting. All right. You've had a lot of great impact here in Phoenix and wearing all sorts of different hats. Very
Yeah.
impressive. I have a reflection question I like to ask people is what do you wish you would have known sooner about wealth and success earlier in your career?
Ooh, what do I wish I would have known sooner about wealth and success early in my career? Good question. Um, I wish I would have known that it's possible to be wealthy and successful being you. That
Ah,
you don't have to code switch. You don't have to put on a show. Um, you can lead authentically. You can
right.
show up as your authentic self. And I believe in I'm a big believer. I'm a big subscriber to the book, The Alchemist. And
Okay.
in that book, the alchemist says, when you know what you want, the entire universe conspires for you to get it.
Right.
And I believe that. I believe that. I believe that you got to clear out the noise. You have to be rooted in your purpose and who you are and lead authentically, and then the whole universe conspires for you to get it. So
Okay.
what I wish I would have known sooner is you can be you, be yourself. Yourself is more than enough.
Sure. I'd like to, that's a great answer. And I'd like to even piggyback on it and say that nobody's better at being you than you, right?
Got it.
It's your uniqueness that makes you stand out. And
Yeah.
a lot of people with kids, for example, myself, I have teenagers, and it's interesting to see them at different stages where they desperately do not want to stand out. They just want to fit in,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
it's kind of a you don't want to be ostracized from the tribe sort of mentality, but at some point you have to stand out,
Yeah.
and once you get confident and comfortable, and yeah, then you got to fly your freak flag.
Yeah. I tell people all the time that you're the competitive advantage. Somebody can watch what you're doing and watch your success and try to emulate what you're doing, but they can never replicate it because they're not walking in your shoes. They haven't experienced your journey. All they're doing is looking at a picture and guessing at the ingredients that it took you to make that picture. Um, but you can't replicate something off of a guess. You're really just going to get a lesser version of the
Right,
real thing. And so you're the competitive advantage. That's what people have to remember and understand. Nobody can replicate you and your experience and what you were put here to do.
right, right. And another thought, in this day and age, I think people really value authenticity.
Yeah, yeah,
There's
yeah.
there's a lot of artificial
Yeah.
versions of things out there, and
Literally,
it's a weird
literally,
time.
literally and figuratively with AI and all
Yep.
that going on right now. There are a lot of artificial versions of the real thing, and people do appreciate authenticity, especially
Yep.
in this social media world. There's a premium on being real.
Right, for sure, for sure. Okay, good stuff. Thank you, Lloyd. If people would like to connect with you or learn more, what should they do?
Yeah, so first you can go to milliondollarteacherproject.org. You can follow us on social media at mdtproject.org. You can visit the social television network, stntv.com,
Okay.
STN Phoenix, STNPHX on all social media platforms. So if you follow either one of those rabbit holes, one of them will lead you right to me.
Okay. Excellent. All right. Well, thank you everybody for listening and watching. Thank you very much, Lloyd Hopkins, for joining me today. Very much appreciate you sharing your story and insights into success and impact here in Phoenix.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Tim.
Inspired by our guests? Visit phoenixprosperitypodcast.com/guest and join us on the show and share your success story with Tim. The spotlight awaits.